Hi everyone, welcome to the Quarantine Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to make a homemade salsa verde, green sauce basically. It's a really popular dip at a Mexican restaurant, but also it's great over pork and chicken. It's very simple to make, and I'm going to show you the ingredients. First off, we're going to have what is called a tomatillos, which is a green Mexican tomato. They come in a husk. You just take the husk off, and then you can see it looks like just a normal green tomato. We're also going to use one onion. We're going to use a jalapeno, and I'll explain how to cut down on the heat on the salsa verde by taking the seeds out of the jalapeno. We're going to do a quick squeeze of lime juice in there. This is optional. Some people don't like it. I think it adds a little bit of a kick. Obviously, we're going to use some salt and then 2 cups of water, and that's pretty much it. There's a couple secrets I'm going to show you here to kind of bring the flavor out even more, and we'll see how this turns out. I love this type. There is an option too that you put half of an avocado in it after you've basically cooked your chilies or your tomatillos and the jalapenos, etc. But I'll show you how that works at the end of the video. So here we go. So here we have a tomatillo. So you just peel the husk off like this. Now I will tell you the easiest way to do this is to run it under water. Plus these are a little sticky, and it gives you a chance also to kind of wash that stickiness off of the tomatillos. So I'm going to use 1 jalapeno in here. You can add 2 if you want. What makes jalapenos hot are the seeds. So if you want to reduce the heat, reduce the seeds. You have to put a jalapeno in this recipe as far as I'm concerned. You need a little bit of a kick. The more seeds you take out, the less heat. If you take all the seeds out, you're not going to have much heat here, but I do believe you have to have at least 1 jalapeno in here. Then I took 1 whole onion, and I'm just quartering it. Cuts don't matter here because we're going to put it in a pot and cook it for 20 minutes till everything comes to a boil, softens up, and then we're going to put it in a food processor or a blender. So I've taken about 1.5 pounds of the tomatillos and quartered them. You will need to pit them out. So you just take a pitter and you take it out like this. Probably you could do it with a spoon, then you just quarter them like that. So there's 1.5 pounds. Got my onions, my jalapenos, and I'm going to put this in 2 cups of boiling water. So I've got everything in a pot boiling here. I've got my 1.5 pounds tomatillos, they're quartered. I've got a whole onion that's quartered, and then the jalapeno. We're just going to put a lid on this and boil it for about 20 minutes. It does have a teaspoon of salt in there. If you want to add a little bit more salt, that's fine. Salt definitely brings the flavor out of most foods, and it's no exception here. One thing I'm going to tell you, and I will probably repeat this, we're going to put this in a blender or a food processor. We are not going to do it straight off of the stove here. Because of the heat, you put that in a blender or a food processor, the food's already expanded. Because of the heat, it will almost explode on you. You will get scalded. So we're going to let this sit about 20 or 30 minutes before we put it in a food processor. So I'm going to put the lid on, set a timer for 20 minutes, and show you the finished product. So I've actually scaled back the amount of time I let this boil. I reduced it to 10 minutes. I could tell that they were getting cooked rather quickly. Probably had this higher than normal, and this is my bigger burner. So this is what they would look like, and then what I'm going to do now, hopefully I can do this without killing myself, is I'm going to put it and I'm going to strain these. I'm going to reiterate what I already said. Do not put this in the food processor or the blender while it's hot. You will have a disaster on your hands and possibly injure yourself. So we're going to let this cool for about 20 minutes. A couple things I forgot to mention is you can also add cilantro to this. I don't add cilantro because a lot of people don't like it. If I were having this myself, I would use cilantro, but right now we are not going to put cilantro in this. Okay, we are back. So as you can see, I've got my tomatillos, onion, mixture here, and I've got the water I've drained off here, or the liquid. Now, there is more than 2 cups of liquid in here now because of the moisture or the liquid that was in the tomatillos and the onions, jalapeno, etc. So I'm going to add a little bit of this at a time, a cup at a time. I don't want this too runny, but I don't want it too thick either. And then I'm going to put it in a food processor. We're going to pulse it, and then we're going to give it a taste. Another thing I forgot to mention to you is if you cut that jalapeno up, make sure you don't touch your eyes, because you're going to pay for it if you do. So I'm going to add approximately 1 cup of water, and then I'm going to blend this. Now, I'm using a food processor. If you have a blender, that works too. I'm going to pulse it because I want this to still have some texture. I don't want this totally pureed. I think that's the texture I want. Yep, that's exactly the texture I want. So, like I said with this, you can add an avocado, half of an avocado. It makes it really rich. It has a great flavor, but most restaurants don't serve it that way. But feel free to put the avocado in there. I'm telling you, it's really, really good, but that's not how they normally serve it. See, it's got a real thick texture to it. I'm gonna give it a quick taste. I'm actually gonna add a little bit more salt to that. The proverbial pinch. Give it another whirl. Still has some heat to it here. That's better. So you can use this with chips. You can use it with pork. It's excellent with pork. If you would do a pork loin, pour this over the top, slow cook it, be fantastic. This is one of the best things I make in a pinch that people are impressed with. Like I said, you can add cilantro. You don't have to add the lime. You can definitely taste the lime in this. If you don't like the lime taste, then don't add it. But it is a go-to salsa or sauce. So if you're having a party, it's great just to set out. Tell people you made it yourself. They may be impressed. So there you go. Homemade salsa verde. Quick and simple. So try this. I think you'll enjoy doing it. I know I do, and I know I like to cook, so that's probably one reason I say you'll like to do it, but you never know. Next, I'm going to show you, and I'm not going to be on this video, but I'm going to show you how to do a roasted salsa. So we'll roast our tomatoes, our peppers, our onions, and serve it warm. It's an incredible dish. I usually eat that with just with chips, but I've had this served to me when I was down in Puerto Vallarta, and I absolutely loved it. So I came home, tried it. It turns out really well. So we'll do that one next. So hopefully you learned something here. Give it a try. Once again, if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, that would be fantastic. Leave me tips or comments, or if there's something that you'd like for me to make, please leave a review or a message on what you'd like for me to try. I can cook just about anything. I'm not trying to brag, but I've always had the gift for cooking. It's been that way since I was a young kid. I just love to cook. Signing off from the Quarantine Kitchen. Everybody be safe and careful out there.